What is the role of religion in our ever-changing world? From the News Channel 5 network, this is Issues of Faith.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Ben Hall. Our topic today, the conflict between science and religion, between science and faith. And why do so many people who embrace science reject religion? We'll be talking to someone today who has made the journey from atheist to Christian. And how did that happen? We're happy to have with us Dr. Ming Wang. Dr. Wang, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ben.
So that question, why is it that it is so common, in your opinion, for people of science or even highly educated people to reject faith? What do you think?
I think it's a natural human tendency as we gain more knowledge and make discoveries about nature. We tend to rationalize more and more and think that we are in control and we understand everything. But the fact of the matter is, the more science that I've studied, in many ways, more unknowns I have. And for example, when I studied the structure of human eyes, I found that the structure is so complex that the number of neurons in one person's head is greater than the number of stars ever discovered in the entire universe. So to think about all these complex neuronal connections for visual interpretation can evolve out of random without purpose is hard to believe.
And you began your studies as an atheist. Mm-hmm. You were an atheist. What made you change?
I came to this country as an atheist. I survived China's Cultural Revolution, the Communist prosecution, came to this country with $50 many years ago. So I came here to study science. As the movie God's Not Dead, there was a character in there which is inspired by my life story. And I came to faith because I found some of the answers that I was trying to find in life. I did not find in science alone. As I said, the complex structure of human eyes, the visual interpretation, it would have taken, I calculated, it would have taken trillions of years for such a complex structure as human eye to form out of randomness. So that's where my previous atheist belief based on science alone came into crisis. And right around that time, a professor at Harvard actually influenced me and showed me the way and basically said, life at the end, it's not just about science. It's not just about faith. It's about science and faith together. It's almost like the two sides of the same coin.
And your story is remarkable. You talk about Harvard, highly educated, Cultural Revolution. You come here from China as an atheist, not exposed to Christianity. Your parents certainly weren't Christian. Mm-hmm. What is their view of your Christianity now?
Well, they are more receptive now, as the movie God's Not Dead 1 and 2 depicted, and they were initially very, against it. And so at the moment, they look at me and say, well, okay, our son became a Christian, did not turn out to be too bad. So, I think that's the power of being a Christian, is through your own action, through your own behavior, trying to help others, trying to be a good citizen, and it's good son. I actually moved them in. They're 80 and 83. I moved both of them to live with me 6 months ago for the rest of their lives. So I think I'm doing my part as a good son, and they see that Christian faith has positively influenced me, my life.
Does it concern you that so many people of science do reject religion? And what do we do about it?
I think, how it's interesting that when you see a great mathematician, you will say, he's such a great mathematician or engineer, he's almost like an artist. But you don't see the comment on the opposite way. What I mean is that the intuition, emotion, faith, intangibles lies in the highest level of human achievement. And the engineering, mathematics, facts are secondary. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to show you could be a better scientist, better engineer, better mathematician if not only you master the science, but also you understand some of the purpose in life and see the inner connections, purpose of life itself. You can be a better scientist, better mathematicians. I always say science is about what things are. Faith is about why things are.
And it's so interesting that your education brought you to Christianity. Mm-hmm. And we don't see that often, but I think that's so interesting. And so there is a character in a movie, God's Not Dead. It's a very popular movie. There's been God's Not Dead 1, now God's Not Dead 2.
Yes.
We have the trailer from it, but you've mentioned it a couple of times. Before we see the trailer, set up what we're going to see and how there is a character based on you in that movie.
Yes. The movie was inspired by the book of the same title, God's Not Dead, written by Dr. Rice Brooks, and part of my life story is in the original book. And when inspired the movie, and my characters stay on. And in this movie, you will see this Chinese student who came from mainland China, came to America to study science. And he was then influenced by Christian faith. And there was a debate in the classroom whether God does exist or not, examining the issue based on scientific facts, cosmology and biology and astronomy and physics. So the conclusion of that movie is, at the end, even if you look at those scientific evidence, there's undisputable evidence supporting the existence of God. And such as Big Bang, at the moment of the beginning of history, there so many matters can evolve and come into being in such a short period of time, in split a second. And no physics law can ever, be able to explain that.
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the trailer for the movie, then we'll come back and talk about it some more. Here is the trailer for God's Not Dead 2.
To forget that the most basic human right of all is the right to believe.
No prayers, no moments of silence, nothing.
Think of the other children out there who are subjected to their repressive belief system.
If we sit by and do nothing, the pressure that we're feeling today will mean persecution tomorrow. We're at war.
What makes nonviolence so radical is its unwavering commitment to a nonviolent approach.
Isn't that sort of like what Jesus meant when he said that we should love our enemies?
Yes, you have heard it said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you.
One of your students sent a text to their parents. Did this happen?
If you're asking whether I responded to a student's question, yes.
And your answer incorporated the words of Jesus.
What were you thinking, Grace?
The Tholies are asking that you be fired, plus revocation of your teaching certificate.
How do we make this go away and not get blood on our hands?
We let the ACLU do it.
We're going to prove once and for all that God is dead.
I'm the order in the matter of Thorley versus Wesley.
Mr. Kane will insist faith isn't on trial here. But that is exactly what is on trial.
You're looking to prove that Jesus Christ existed? Oh, that's ridiculous. I hate what people like your clients stand for and what they're doing to our society.
You're under arrest.
These people, they're looking to destroy you.
Everyone's telling me to stay out of it. What is your heart telling you to do?
I would rather stand with God and be judged by the world than stand with the world and be judged by God. I am not going to be afraid to say the name Jesus.
If we're going to insist that a Christian's right to believe is subordinate to all other rights, then it's not a right.
You are out of order. I charge you with contempt.
I accept the charge because I have nothing but contempt for these proceedings.
God's not dead, he's surely alive.
So that's the trailer. What did you want to say about that?
Yes, that's the trailer of God's Not Dead #2, and actually that in the second one you see a few flashes of this Chinese Asian student. That was character based on my life story. This 2 extended from God's Not Dead #1. This 2 is about in the outside the classroom, what's the bigger society issues? Where do we draw the line in the public education? Can we talk about God? Where is the faith and belief in the public setting? So which is a very important issue in our society
When
today.
I look at that trailer, and I haven't seen the movie, but when I look at that trailer, it looks like the theory is that it's not okay to talk about God, and that institutions in our society are against that. Do you believe that, or what do you think?
I feel it's a balance issue. It's not a simple issue because on one hand, we as a Christian, I would like to stay in my faith as much as I can, even in public settings. And for example, all my patients have done surgeries. I pray with all my patients. I feel at the moment of vulnerability, that the moment that needs focus, needs humbleness, needs modesty, needs dedication. That praying with God and help us focus together, we do a good job for the patient's eye surgeries. So that's why every patient I have done surgeries, I pray with them. And it helps in the setting. But at the same time, I usually ask my patient, I said, you know, is it okay for us to pray? Because I have to be also sensitive to the fact that many are not Christians, different beliefs. I feel all people are equal. You know, they get the right to believe what they believe. And as a Christian, that we want to influence them not through over-preaching, but through our own action, that we can do good deeds as a citizen of the world. And in this case, I get the patient's permission, it's okay to pray. And then almost always they say, yes, Dr. Wang, I appreciate you will spend time and slow down and help me focus and relieve my anxiety. So I think it's a balance issue. We have to be sensitive to the faith, beliefs and the rights of folks with different beliefs and ethnicities and cultures. But at the same time, we should not be afraid of stand up to state what each of us believe ourselves.
When I opened the show, I talked about the conflict between faith and science, faith and education in some cases. Where do you think we're headed? Where do you think this takes us?
The world today is a very troubled place. There are violence, there's corruptions, and there are immoralities, and much of that has to do with the increasing development of the pace of development of science and technology and material wealth. When humans are faced with more material wealth, one is tempted to corrupt. And I do believe that without faith, you can never hire enough policemen. So we need better legal systems to safeguard against the corruptions, but at the same time, we have to also build our faith foundation in each of us. For me, it's Christian faith, but in another person could be different faith and beliefs, but believing something. Believe in the fact that even no other human being is watching this person, a creator, a God is. So that will bring a bit more sense of accountability, more honesty, and that will help the society grow. I do truly believe that if we forget about faith and ignore the fact that human beings, we are mortal beings and there are immortal creators who dictates our lives and we should be held accountable to him. If we don't follow that, let that be a big part of our lives, then society may degenerate into a society that focuses exclusively on material wealth, on money, on things, and
well, because as we learn more and as we gain more material wealth, it's easier to think that we are in charge of ourselves,
right?
That we are responsible for our good fortune, and that we know it all, I guess, and that's when we move away. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yes, I think a healthy dose of modesty and humbleness about knowing our own limitations is very helpful as human beings. For example, in eye surgery, despite all the technologies we have, before each eye surgery, I always have to remind myself that no matter how much I know, there's always a chance for mistake. So be humble, admitting we have limitations. We need God to help guide us and makes a better human being, not worse.
All right, we have to take a break. We'll come back. We have more to discuss here. We'll take a break, come back, continue our discussion. Be back right after this.